Hey, it's your girl, Mama Shaun, and you're listening to Mic'd Up with Mama Shaun. Today's episode, I'm opening my heart and sharing chapter 4 from my book, Life After Heartbreak. Now, what? This chapter is raw, real, and reflective. It's for anyone who's ever tried to pick up the pieces and didn't know where to start. So, wherever you are, whether you're driving or cleaning or laying down, just take a moment for yourself. Lean in real close because this one is for you. Chapter 4 My Isolation. September 8th, day 1 was rough. 3 years gone vanished with a snap of my finger. Just like Thanos did on Avengers Endgame, it's like my heart was happy, then with a snap, darkness and emptiness rushed in. My eyelids were swollen. I don't know how I drove home that night. 3 hours. Made it home that day. I never knew my eyes could swell that much. I didn't know that it could hurt that bad. The pain in my heart was unbearable. The truth of my new normal was unreal. Did this trip really end this way? Did the trip kill me? The pain in my heart was deeper than I realized. It's wider than what I'd space for, and it continued to grow. It grew so much that it overlooked my whole body from head to toe. Let me explain. Pain is unexpected, and it doesn't feel well at all. I didn't make that trip to leave in pain. I didn't make that trip to leave with a status change. I made that trip to fix a situation, to get an understanding. I assumed I wasn't the only person entertaining this trip. However, I was. You see, after every breakup, I do two of the following things. I listen to the crisis, or I watch Eat, Pray, Love. I usually do both of those things on repeat for several weeks. However, this time, I couldn't watch Eat, Pray, Love, and the crisis was just the banging of keys. When pain hits you, it doesn't just hit in one spot. When you stub your toe, it's like your arm hurts. Your arm and your toes aren't connected, but they both hurt in their equal place. I had just taken a job back working at a center as a director. The night I came home, I remember begging my mother to keep me home from work. I laid on her lap and begged and pleaded as if she could write me a note excusing my absence from adulting. She said, "No, go. It's good for you to go and keep busy." She saw the pain in my eyes and my swollen eyelids. She was very angry. But the word says, "Be angry and sin not." It also says, "Anger lies in the bosom of a fool." So she took it to prayer, but not without letting me know exactly how she felt. I remember little Rashawn yelling, "Keep busy. Don't you see my heart on your lap? Don't you see the blood everywhere? Can you feel the pulsating beat of my heart?" But I persevered and went to work. After all, I had 35 little people and 4 big people to lead, and my heart had to wait. Yet I wondered, how could my heart wait when I needed it to do this job? Working with children, your heart has to be a part of it and play its role. I remember the first few days being a blur. I remember getting 2 phone calls and crying on each call. I remember crying in my office, crying in my car, crying while the kids were napping, crying while talking to the pastor that I worked with. I just kept on crying. I didn't realize how many tears I cried. But the one place I couldn't cry was church. But little did I know it was just the beginning. I remember going to Bible study that night and just sitting there thinking, what am I even doing here? I don't belong here. And I certainly can't talk to God. So I just sat there and couldn't say a word. I had no words to say to him at that moment. What do you do when everywhere you go is a memory? How do you survive when you have a cut that bleeds profusely? You immediately run to get the first aid kit and the doctor. Well, I got to work and decided to doctor myself. I did 2 counseling sessions with a Christian counselor. Reliving the memories wasn't helpful for me, so I stopped going. I didn't think that was helpful in my healing process. I know from past experience that my healing was going to be rough. However, by the first month, I felt okay. However, at church, I was still sitting there like a statue. Couldn't really talk to the Lord as I had done before. After all, I felt that this was His fault. I had shut down all lines of communication. After all, this was His fault. Man, I had never in my life uttered those words to God, like ever. By October of 2018, I was muddling through life as I knew it. I was tired all the time. I had no energy. I didn't feel like going out, and home was my heaven, and outside was my hell. Inside was my escape from the outside. What sense does that make, to be inside? Let's think about that. What sense does that make? That inside was my escape. Usually when you escape, you run away. But since I couldn't run inside, that would mean you escape to the outside. Home was my safety, and everything else was getting darker and darker. As the days went on, I kept muddling, and the world around me kept getting darker and darker. Hmm. Neither my staff nor the kids knew what I was going through because it wasn't their issue. Finally, I had a breaking point. Thanksgiving 2018. While at my cousin's mansion, yes, you heard that right, his mansion. While at the mansion, I kept meeting new people. I didn't feel like being around anyone but my family, not extensions or extra, but my family. You see, when you're with someone of a certain stature, you are forced to meet new people all the time and smile. They kept talking to me, and I offered a smile. It was weak, but I offered a smile because that was all I had to give. Then Ribbon in the Sky played in the background, and I thought, okay, something is happening here. I did a code pink to my girl squad, and they immediately responded. You see, no matter what's going on, a code pink is never denied, or a code the favorite color. Our job is to immediately respond because the world and our sister needed us. That means that our sister is in trouble. I told them I couldn't breathe, and I felt like the walls were closing in around me. I remember thinking, why is Ribbon in the Sky playing so loudly? But it wasn't. It was playing on the same volume level it was when it started. My mind and heart started racing, and everyone kept talking and laughing. But why is Ribbon in the Sky playing so loudly? I wanted to shout. There's a significance to that song. They both responded by saying, go outside, get some air, and you're going to be fine. I had never held back tears like that before in my life. I remember thinking, I am going to drown from my own tears. I remember thinking I would cry so hard and struggle so much to breathe that I would die. The pain was doing it for me. My pain came back with a vengeance. I thought I had been doing okay and then I was going to get better. Instead, the pain returned in a shock equivalent to a volcano. Once a volcano erupts, it has to run its course, like literally run its course. Boy, did it return. Not only did it return, but it brought property, started a business, had customers. Remember, pain, it never travels alone. It's like a business named Revenge Mart. Who are its workers? Anger, wrath, vengeance, death, and hatred. I knew that something wasn't right and I needed help beyond an earthly person. See, in the body of Christ, we are taught to go before the Lord and ask Him for help. However, I couldn't cry and I couldn't ask for help. My heart was nowhere to be found, and I was okay with letting it go and letting go of this life. You see, 3 years is a long time to create memories, memories that you keep with you, memories that make you smile when your heart beats, memories that help ease that hard day until you see them again. The Bible says, come boldly to the throne of grace. I didn't come, go, waltz, skip, jump, or hop boldly. I sat right in front of it. I sat in the front of many days. I wanted blood. I wanted vengeance. I wanted my pain to be felt because all those who wouldn't think or didn't think I was worthy or deserving or better yet, compatible. You see, at the death of our relationship, everyone cut themselves off from me as if I was nothing. I never got to tell my story. I never got to speak my piece. The lines in the sand had been drawn, and I was left on the other side at death's door. I wanted my pain to be felt. I wanted everyone to feel the emptiness, the embarrassment, and the shame I was feeling. The one who they looked up to and admired was the one who left me broken and for dead. Some may not believe this, but I tried to hate him. I tried with everything I had. I remember begging and pleading in tears to God to let me hate him. Please, please let me hate him. I don't deserve to feel this way. You gotta give me something. Now, you know that sounded foolish to ask God to hate someone. I was hoping that I could override that biblical principle. I tried hard, very hard. I tried with every fiber of my being. One of the exercises that I was instructed to do in counseling was to write my feelings down. I remember thinking, I don't have enough time for that. I'm working full time traveling. But then the words just came to me. As they would come, I would write. I remember writing a piece entitled, I Really Tried to Hate You. On the day of September 8th, love left my body. I never known love could do that. It's like something crept inside and evicted it. Okay, love, time's up. Time for you to go. I remember thinking, what is happening to me? What have I become? Once again, my DNA was changing, only this time, I didn't want it to change again. I was done. Anything was better than being in this world. The pain wouldn't stop. The pain wouldn't go away. It followed me everywhere that I went. I went to bed, it was there. I woke up, it was there. I remember asking my mom the process to erase my memory. She looked at me with sadness and said, "You don't want to do that. You had your aunt go through that." Then I replied with tears, "But it's better than being here in this present hurt where I feel everything. I didn't want to feel this anymore. I wanted it to stop. Please make it stop." I started crying because I was reliving everything all over again. I remember asking God to please let me go. As I sat at his throne, I asked God to let me go. I meant that because I didn't love me anymore and I was losing hope fast. I was okay with him letting me go, which is why I even asked. Even though I asked, begged, and pleaded and cried, he didn't let me go. In my mind, I was trying to figure out how to end the pain. I needed to end it quickly and as soon as possible, for I can't stand this pain anymore. It was far worse than anything I had ever felt. The pain had the audacity to follow me to church. Yes, the pain was my bench buddy, and with that pain came heaviness. My arms were too heavy to lift them in church. My mind was too heavy to pay attention and respond. My feet were too heavy to continue walking. My neck was too heavy to support my head. I was ready to go. Nothing made sense, and I was no longer interested in what life had to offer me. As far as I was concerned, the love of my life basically said I was no longer wanted. I interpreted that to mean 3 years is long enough. I'm setting you free. I no longer want you. 2018 was the second year we had prayer at the church for 2 weeks, Monday through Friday. Although I was feeling heavy, wanted my memory erased, or the death angel to come and get me, the little church girl remembered that prayer was the key. I still wanted my memory erased, and if the death angel came for me, well, it was just my time. I was okay with that. My mother taught us to believe in the power of prayer. She believed the Bible when it referenced laughter as a good medicine. She believed that if we tell God all about it, He will work it out. That is what she taught us, and that is what I believed. However, I stopped believing. I stopped believing in love, marriage, and the baby carriage. I stopped believing anything God had to say. I had trusted Him. I grew up hearing that we are to trust God with every fiber of our being. But in that moment, I believed that trusting in Him is how I lost everything. I remembered years before praying, asking God to remove him out of my life if he wasn't meant to be in it. Why did it take God 3 years, though? I was already way too deep. That was his fault. I always believed in being 100% with God, even if it meant my honesty was ugly, even if it meant my honesty was nasty, gross, or appalling. That was my truth. First night of prayer came. I knew it was going to be 2 hours, so I had to say something. I remember saying, "Okay, God, here I am, now what? I'm here in pain. I'm here not having any more will to live or any more power to live. I'm here in your house where we can be honest. What exactly do you want from me?" I spent one of those 2 weeks crying, pounding my fist, yelling, and being very honest with the Lord. I spent 2 weeks crying at every turn. I owned it. I dared anyone to tell me to stop crying. I cried and cried. I couldn't stop crying. I couldn't stop. If the tears fell, I let them fall. I didn't care where I was. I owned that. I didn't care who saw me I was no longer going to keep them in. I kept crying with resolution in sight. See, in the beginning, I was afraid because if I started crying, I wouldn't be able to stop. I had so much to say and I did not know where to begin. My pastor reminded me that there are good men out there, and I was quickly to shake my head no. For in my eyes, the person I thought was good cut me deep. I thought my dad's cut was deep, but this was deeper than I can imagine. She quickly said, "Yes, there is." I wanted to scream, "No, there's not." All they do is hurt you. They're mean to you. They say they love you, but they don't. However, I knew better, so I kept that between me and God. But He heard everything. He heard the story, for I told Him. Why? Well, because He's God, and He already knows. There are no secrets with Him. She also reminded me that the Lord is a healer. He's my healer, and it's time to start the process. I didn't want to. I didn't want to until I was ready, and I wasn't ready. However, I knew it was time. It wasn't time for me to get healed. It was time for my healing to begin. I spent 4 months crying, pounding my fist, trying to hate, wanting revenge, but now my healing journey needed to begin. I shut everyone down. I stopped talking. I stopped responding to messages, taking phone calls. I needed to hear one voice only. I remember asking the Lord to heal me and take me through this process His way. Healing, if not done right, can come back with a vengeance. My healing, first I realized that God gave me a love in my heart that I didn't know I was capable of feeling. Healing takes love, and healing takes God's mighty hand. Secondly, healing takes time. Don't rush your healing because you don't want to feel it. Don't rush your healing because someone told you so. If anyone should try and speed up your healing process, you need to be, well, enough is in that moment to say, I need time and you can't dictate my time. For someone else, the healing may take more time and the healing may be different. That doesn't matter. The Bible says don't compare yourself by yourselves because then you become unwise. 2 Corinthians 2:10-12. Everyone's healing is different, and no one, and I mean no one, has the right to dictate your healing. Healing, if done right, will change the trajectory of your life. Hurt will overwhelm you like the bad flu. It will just take over your body. Next thing you know, you've broken out the loudest sob imaginable because the pain or the memory hit your gut. I remember the first time I had my sob during the beginning stages of my healing. Ooh, the pain hurt so much. One ripped both my heart and my soul out of my body. I remember thinking, how could he do this to me? I remember my whole body started shaking. I loved him with every fiber of my being. I thought he loved me. So I pondered, was that really love? I realized that if that was love, I want no parts. That's right. The girl who loved love now wanted no parts of it. I was done. Love hurt too bad and cost me everything. Hmm. Can you imagine saying love hurts? So I was all for lying on the ground. I was all for laying it down and leaving it behind. Once you're at this point, the Lord can begin His work. and you can as well. Honestly, it took me 4 months to ask God for help. Remember, we weren't speaking. Well, I wasn't speaking. When I finally asked, that's when things started becoming a tad bit clearer and a tad bit easier. I started talking to God and talking with my pastor. After spending 4 months being angry, vengeful, wrathful, and full of fury, I finally reached to the point of not crying every day. I spent the next 4 months working and traveling. I finally stopped looking at the clock, expecting a usual call. By the 5th month, I finally stopped looking at the clock at all. Daily habits and routines are hard to break, but when the relationship is over, there's something God must help us do. Over time, the other habits started dying off as well. I remember hearing a song that said, "Tell Me Where It Hurts" by Fred Hammond. And I remember thinking, "Tell you? Don't you see this pain?" However, we must be open to telling God exactly how we feel and telling Him what He already knows. After all, He's the God that knows all things and sees all things. He sees the slow beat of your heart that the pain is causing. He sees the process of your thinking. As I write this section, I'm listening to that song. As I tell Him where it hurts, I am bringing it all to Him, and He will love it all away. We say, "But God, this pain is too unbearable for me to even talk or utter a sound." You know that pain is intense when you gotta groan through it. Guess what? He understands that too. You know who doesn't? The devil. I started back working, and that became one of the reasons for the untimely death of our relationship. I've worked around children for over 20 years at this time. I didn't know how to come and work when my heart was no longer present. The day our relationship ended, I changed. Wasn't sure if it was for the worse or the better, but I knew I was no longer the same person. When I went to work, I had a million little hands, arms, and hugs ready to greet me at the door. All I could hear before I opened the door was, "Miss Rashawn, Miss Rashawn, Mama Shaun, Mama Shaun." I had all these fingers reaching and grabbing for me. Some fingers were sticky, some were prickly, but they all wanted one thing: me. They wanted me to greet them individually. So I did. I greeted each child. I saw smiles, happiness, joy. Those children became a part of my village, and they didn't even know it. From that point on, every day, the children ran to hug me or waited for me by the front door. Sometimes they would just walk away from circle time to hug me. I had to tell them, "Stop, go finish circle time. I'll be in my office when you're done." Sure enough, when circle time was over, here they come. It was usually the same 5 kids. A, A, K, A, and M. From that point on, I had those children there to give me love and hug to get me through the day. To some of them, I became Mama Shaun. I was their daycare mommy. To some, I was their hero. Why? I had the answers, and I knew how to fix their problems. Those kids made laughing, hugging, and loving them so much easier. It's as if that was the one place where I didn't have to be alone with my thoughts. my feelings, or most importantly, my future. I didn't have to consider my now what when I was there. Hmm. So that is chapter 4. Let's have a mic'd up moment. Healing starts the moment you give yourself permission to feel and still believe there's more of you on the other side. Chapter 4 taught me that heartbreak may break you open, but it also breaks you free. Your next season, your next season isn't behind you. It's waiting for you to rise. Thank you for sharing space with me today. If this chapter touched your heart, share this episode with someone who might need a reminder that healing is possible and joy is still within reach. And don't forget, you're not walking this road alone. I'm right here, mic'd up and cheering you on every step of the way. Until next time, keep healing, keep hoping, stay lifted.